Welcome back, Strongman and Strong Women fans, and first video from me for quite a while. I've had a bit of a break from YouTube, been very busy in everyday life, and also the constant copyright has been preventing me from posting videos. So hopefully this one's going to work around it and you're going to enjoy this video. And I've got a lot to talk about today. Managed to condense 5 hours worth of competition into less than half an hour for you. So here you can see obviously we've got all the British athletes, men and women mixed for the very first time, so history in the making, along with the American team, which has come up after. This is the first ever competition that Giants had put on where the women were involved. To be honest with you, it's taken too long for this to happen. I can't believe they've not been in the spotlight any sooner, apart from when they did Worlds Ultimate Strongman and obviously lesser known federations and, events held in the UK and elsewhere by other organisers. But anyway, it's the first time it's ever happened. It was really cool to see obviously the Brits and the Yanks going head to head. And this obviously was held in the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool in front of 4,000 fans, a live audience. And, we had some great people there. We had 3 times world's strongest woman Donna Moore. We had Trey Big Fickett Mitchell from America, and obviously 2 times world's strongest woman under 82 kilos, Nadia Stow, as you can see here. And one other very noticeable fan favourite here, or not everyone's favourite, Eddie Hall. First time competing in a strongman competition in 5 years. He's come out of retirement just for this event. So that was great to see him obviously heading up the UK team. So event 1 was the Farmers Walk, and everyone competed within this comp except Eddie and Martin Lissis. So Martin Lissis was the captain for the American team, Eddie being the UK team captain. Robert Oberst was originally going to take the spot for the US. I don't know why he withdrew, but I'll be honest, I preferred Martin's because he's a more successful and credible athlete in my opinion. No disrespect to Robert. So here I've pulled up a little bit of the first event where the Yanks initially took the lead. Here's obviously Gavin for Wales and UK going, but we had a fantastic run here. Particularly Rebecca Roberts, she's the one you see here. She picked up real ground for us. If it hadn't been for those fast feet of her, I don't think we would probably have won this one, because she really gained some valuable time and track. Just, she takes huge strides anyway. She's a big girl, really tall, 6'4". So this was a great first event, and I really, really enjoyed it. The logs actually weighed 140 kilos each side, so pretty standard weight for the men's, and 100 kilos for the women's. But obviously, by no means do not think that 100 kilos is a lot of weight to carry in each hand, because I know most men who struggle with 50 kilos in one hand. Also, using the logs is very different to other types of farmers carry frames. So well done, obviously, to the Brits for winning this one. Commiserations to the Americans. It was a good start for them, but obviously, unfortunately, like I said, Rebecca Roberts smashed it. You'll see here are the points. So Mark Felix had the strongest time, followed by Rebecca Roberts. And because Mark obviously took the fastest time, and also the Brits won the first event, they get extra points for that. That's how the format works. So you would get more points if you had the best time or the best score per event on top of winning the event or not. Or if you didn't win, you still get some. You obviously get some points regardless. Event 2 was the Hercules hold, and just so you know, the women actually did use the same weight as the men, because Donna Moore apparently went out before obviously they started competing just to test it out, and was able to hold it. And as a result, it was actually the women that stole the show, with Gabby Dixon at the end of this video. Just got a few stills of her. She actually set a women's world record with a time of 1 minute 8 seconds, which wasn't too far of of Mark Felix's. He didn't beat his own world record, but he wasn't far off it. But the equipment is 250 kilos per hand, and whether you're a man or woman, it's incredible to hold that sort of weight for that amount of time. Definitely a different test of grip strength and pure power with the isometric hold aspect. But it was really, really impressive to see how well everyone did. But particularly, like I said, the women absolutely smashed it. Mark, let's face it, even though he's in his 50s, late 50s now, he's just a machine. I don't know how he has so much fitness and strength at this age. It's just absolutely incredible. And you see in a sec, he takes top off, he's in such great shape. Such a good example to what can be achieved through hard work, discipline, genetics to a certain extent as well, but ultimately, look, he's putting the work in and he's looking after his body, and it's just great to see this man competing at this level, and he's a senior, you know, he's in the masters level, like, so it's just really, really impressive. Again, obviously, so the Brits won this, so they took more points as a result, because also they got the extra time. I do believe I think it's either 1 point or 1.5 point or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, for the best time or the best overall score per event. So like I said, from the first event to this event, the Brits won all maximum points again. Despite obviously Gabby doing so well, it wasn't a good enough. It was obviously the best female score, but it wasn't the best score overall. But well done to Gabby. Great start for her. And just you may notice that some of these events are in a different order to what they're originally scheduled for. They obviously changed the format a bit and put them in different order, and they adapted the last event as well. So, but anyway, here's the Hercules hold times. As you can see, 20-second difference between Mark and Gabby. That's just fantastic. And to mention about Gabby again, is actually the first time she ever used it. So could you imagine if she practiced it more, what the potential is for someone like her? She could even maybe match Mark Felix's world record or get close to it. So incredible stuff. So moving on to event 3, the hammer hold. And this was the first event that Eddie actually competed in. And he actually went on to win. As you might be able to read in that little clip there with the guys there, Eddie actually has the world record for 106, something like that. So the women, they had a 20-kilo hammer, and the men 30 kilos, so not much difference in it at all. Showing you the women first, because the women did absolutely incredible. You know, unbelievable strength of shoulders, like muscular endurance and just static strength. Well, I say static strength, but you know, strong shoulders first and foremost to hold that kind of weight out, let alone hold that weight out for that sort of time frame. You know, really impressive to see from the women. I mean, again, like referring to guys, I don't know if we're going to compare women to men, but generally speaking, men are better at these events, and these women were absolutely bossing it. You know, they weren't far off the men in terms of overall numbers. They were doing pretty much like for like the same weights on most events, beating some of the men in their times and scores. Just incredible. But here's the clips. So the main one I'll show you with Eddie and Trey. Trey did fantastic, but Eddie, obviously, he's been out of competition for 5 years. He's lost a lot of his conditioning. He's also older. He's in his mid-30s now. Trey's still in his prime, young, still learning, still developing, no injuries. He's really strong, like he's massive. Eddie looked like he's really struggling, and I honestly thought that Eddie was going to tap out and Trey would take it because Trey looks so strong. As you can see, Eddie looks over many, many times, and to me, like he's going to go any second. But he held it, he fought it, and this is what I like about Eddie. He did not give up. But I think he overdid it a little bit, because after he said he felt a bit of a niggle, and I think that's what affected him moving in to the Viking press, which we'll see shortly after this. But well done to Eddie, obviously taking another win for the Brits and getting the best score overall. But if you just quickly look here, Ines, who was one of the American girls who came up in the first clip, look at her score. Now, yes, it was 10 kilos lighter than what Eddie did, but the time difference is like marginal and really, really impressive. So well done, Ines, incredible. Andrea as well in third. So as you can see after event 3, the Brits are absolutely smashing it with 12-0. So the Americans need to catch up at this point. Event 4 is the axle deadlift. So the athletes went head to head, men with 360 kilos on the bar and the women at 220. And obviously this was a very close competition in terms of overall points. Brits and Yanks both did very, very well on each of them. Here, Graham Hicks, he actually set a personal best. However, after this, he actually withdrew due to saying he didn't feel particularly well. So he wasn't injured, but he withdrew saying he's not very well. And apparently he'd been battling like various colds and flus for weeks on the build-up. So he wasn't 100%. And also the same thing for Bobby Thompson here. He actually withdrew due to injury as well. I'm not quite sure what that was, but he didn't continue after as well. So real shame. But overall, everyone did very well. Great points, great battles. The women in particular, the most interesting and the most competitive in my opinion. The America's Gabby Dixon, again, she stole the show with another event. She actually won the event overall for the women's. And she took the bonus point because she got the most points for her team. So that was really good for them. Obviously, the Yanks needed it because they were very far behind at this stage of the competition. But here we've got, obviously, Donna Moore. She was wearing a suit, but Nadia, who's a good 10 kilos lighter than Donna, even though, Donna's trimmed down, she just did it raw. As you can see, like she's got a belt and straps on, but she's got no suit on. But I think Donna, she after this was like saying, please get me out the suit. I don't think she could breathe properly and she was struggling. I mean, it doesn't look like a particularly comfortable thing to wear. I wouldn't want to wear one. But I get that some people want to add a bit more protection and keep their body tighter to protect their back and obviously get a little bit more help with the lift. But fantastic from these women. The numbers they got, obviously for the weight. Again, like I said, a lot of men can barely do 1 rep, you know, let alone 4 reps. So this was great to see. Really good head-to-head. Well done to both ladies here. But obviously the one that came after this, which you can see shortly, with Gabby and Andrea Thompson from the UK, that was a really good head-to-head. And, you know, I think Andrea did push Gabby to get that high score because she's such a good deadlifter herself. That she holds a record in the elephant bar. So yes, it's been quoted before that the axle was particularly difficult. It's a very difficult implement to use. The bar is incredibly thick, and you know, a lot of people say it's so much harder than a conventional bar or elephant bar and whatnot. Personally, I haven't used one, so I can't comment, but it does look like it would be a bit more trickier and taxing on the body. But you can just see here, the weight's absolutely flying up for Gabby, and to be fair, I don't think she could do 360 for reps, but I think she could be in the high 200s with how easy this weight is moving. It's really, really smooth, really fast. Her technique's fantastic, flawless. She's got some good weight behind her, and she actually made the bar look quite small. She's quite a big girl, you know, like she's very stacked. So yeah, here's her 10th rep. Incredible head-to-head here. Really impressive. And I actually I didn't know Gabby before this, but I do know that most of the competitors from both countries have only just come from the official Strongman games 2-3 weeks ago, so they're still recovering from that. So you're watching people put in great performances with hardly any rest in between, so well done. Here obviously you see Gabby, Andrea, Nadia, so women at the top in terms of overall reps. Yes, they didn't use as much weight, but nonetheless they still smashed it. So here we are at after event 4, 13.5 for the Brits, and obviously not so much for the Americans. So event 5, which was the log press, and as you can see here, the women had 100 kilo and the men had 140 kilos. Sorry, my mistake, 150. Now, because Graham withdrew due to not feeling very well, he was, you know, he's our best log presser. Same thing for Eddie. Eddie didn't want to step in because he wanted to save himself for the Viking press, which is fair enough. Gavin had to go against Trey, who's absolutely incredible with the log press. He made this weight look so light and so easy. He easily had more in the tank. He just didn't have enough time. And he absolutely dominated this event. Bobby Thompson, who's also a fantastic log presser, has set world records American records and whatnot in the log. He also didn't compete in this one because, you know, like I said, he was also injured and withdrew. So we actually saw a difference in points here. Gavin did ask Eddie after this one, could he go again? Because there's no one else to go, really, essentially. Mark is not a good log presser, didn't want to do it. And obviously, Graham was out and Eddie wasn't going to do it. So there was only really Gav. And fair play to Gavin, you know, he got the weight up, but he's just not as good with reps on the log as he is on other events where he can get the reps. So well done to Gavin, and, you know, valiant effort, and especially putting yourself forward to go again. But when you're going to get someone like Trey, I mean, Trey just made it like it was nothing, like paper. So well done, Trey. Really good to see you're on top form. And I like Trey, you know, he's always been like one of those silent, quiet, sort of timid people, but he's just an absolute powerhouse. Here we see Nadia. She literally one motions up this log. She just flies up. No, barely any pressing. Like, there's no pause at the top. I do think that this taxed her though quite a lot because she starts to drop off after this 3rd or 4th rep. Starts to struggle a bit, so she has to clean it to the shoulders and then get that push press in. Donna was just steady and slow. I'd say it's not her best event. Here she actually loses the log, but you know, they're going to be taxed. They've done a couple events now, and this is, you know, the second head-to-head for these two. They just smashed the axle, and now they're on the log. So, you know, the body's tired, and bodies are more tired anyway after doing the OSG, like I mentioned previously, only 2-3 weeks ago. So great list from them anyway, irregardless. And I was really impressed with Nadia because, you know, she's not, you know, these 2 times under 80 kilo world champion for no reason. You know, she is strong. Like, she is super strong for her size. You know, she's not particularly tall. She's obviously not very heavy, but she is pound for pound probably one of the strongest there because she's picking up the same weight as everyone else. in the women's, that is, and some of the other events as well. So I was really impressed with her. I have seen her compete before, but obviously never seen her compete at the Giants, just like all the other women. So here we've got obviously the last one here with the two last females, obviously being Andrea and Ines as well. And yeah, great from these two as well. Like Andrea, she's very like technical. You know, she's older. She's got more experience. She's very mature. So she takes her time. She's doing things steady. She's doing it slow, for playing it safe, and just gets the reps in. So, but she looks so strong. You know, she's got really strong shoulders. As you can see of Ines, she has a different type of technique to Andrea with the split jerk, utilising the leg there differently to generate that power. And she was talking to Kaz after, and Kaz was like, oh, you know, do you practice this often? And she's like, no, not really. And, you know, considering she doesn't practice it often, and that technique as well, she did fantastic. She just narrowly missed out on that 9th rep, unfortunately, so she tied with Andrea. But, you know, really great to see different forms of technique and different levels of strength crossing over in different ways. I was really impressed with Ines on this one. Like, I think she could have easily got 10, but she was just unlucky, not enough time. But that 9th, she literally just missed it by like 10th of a second, something like that. So well done to her, and well done to Andrea as well. So not the most exciting one from the men's, but in terms of the women's stats and results, really good to see here. Trey obviously dominated it, but he didn't have anyone really to compete with. So well done to him anyway, because, you know, he did really well. And the women just, you know, so much respect. So after event 5, you can see the scores here. There's a little bit of catching up, but still quite a way to go for the Americans. So event 6 was the captains only event, which was the Viking press. So again, slightly different format, obviously putting just 2 people head-to-head for one event only, playing for points. Giants don't do this in any of their other competitions, so again, something new, something different, something interesting. I did really like this competition. This is why I've chosen to cover this one, because all the others are starting to get a bit repetitive in my opinion. This was different. Eddie started off so strong. As we know, he's fantastic at Viking press. He was back in the day. That's what helped him win World's Strongest Man. But here he has some sort of lat issue. He claims that he tore something or something pinged. You know, it stopped him in his tracks, and he was unsure to continue. To me, if he had done something more serious, I think he would have been expressing actual pain. But, you know, there was a time myself, I popped my calf and it didn't hurt at all. It just happened randomly. But anyway, so it wasn't head-to-head. It was one at a time, which I think was a bit strange. I think they should have done it together, but obviously they only bought one Viking press kit. I believe it was 250 total. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Martins, you can see here, absolutely smashed it. Like he's proven, like he's literally improved so much over the years from his earlier World's Strongest Man appearances, where he didn't do as well with the pressing. Like this pressing now is so strong. And I believe he got 17 reps. Eddie got 4 before he called it a day. And it's a real shame, because I want to see something big from Eddie. Like, you know, when we know he's got some of the best shoulders of all time. And it's just, you know, end of the day, he's not in the best shape. He hasn't competed since, you know, 5 years ago. The last thing he did, he was doing boxing, and he lost that. So well done, Martins. He took top points on this because he got points for winning the event, and actually got the most, the overall best score as well. So obviously that was well needed for the Americans as points. So here are the scores after event 6, going to event 7, which was the Tug of War. Again, something completely new, and a mixture of men and women. Initially, I thought it'd be the men and women on the same team, but they did actually separate them and have the women first and then the men after. And again, the captains didn't participate in this one, as did some of the other competitors didn't compete because of being injured or not feeling very well. So only certain members from the men's, competed. But no, it was, so here's the first one with the women's. So you've got Donna, Rebecca and Andrea. And on the other side, you've got Ines, you've got Nadia, and of course you've got Gabby as well. So really good little head-to-head here. It's such a different form of strength. You know, Rebecca Roberts actually said after this, she was like, you know, we don't train for this. This is something completely different. So it's just testing your physical ability in a different manner, because you don't have the technique, you don't practice it. So it's a different type of stress and pressure on the body, and you know, you have to work together to apply that strength and that fitness and that pull. If they're not working together well, applying that force, they're going to lose. And I don't believe any of them practiced prior to this alone or with each other. So well done to the women's. Obviously, again, taking points there for the Brits. And sorry, it wasn't actually that both captains were out for the men's. As you can see here, Lissis did actually compete, and Eddie didn't, because apparently he had some sort of teres minor injury from what I've heard after this competition, so like an area of his shoulder, so not actually his lat. So the Yanks looked like they were coming in strong on this one initially. As you can see, the Brits really start to get behind it and quite easily finish with a win. I mean, to be fair, it was mentioned when you've got Gavin built in the back, nearly 200 kilos, plus the combined strength of Mark and Adam as well. Even though we had the three Americans here, and Trey, Trey in particular, he's so strong, he's a big guy as well. Unfortunately, they conceded again. It was meant to be, I think it was meant to be more rounds, but because we'd already won two, the Brits had already won two in a row, there's obviously no comeback from that. So the captains had a gentleman's agreement, shook hands, said let's move on to the final event. So well done to the English team there, for obviously taking maximum points again. And as you can see, here are the here's the ending scores with a +4 second advantage going into the ladder power stairs loading race for the Brits for 4 second advantage, like I said. So obviously that's, at this point, the Brits had already won it. I don't think there'd been any possibility for Americans to catch up at this point, but, irregardless of that, they still put in maximum effort. And to be fair, they weren't too far behind there, if you just saw. Things can go wrong, though. Naturally, people could fall over, they can make a mistake, they can stumble, they can struggle with the weights. The women did have a slightly less weights than the men, but it went all the way up to 225 kilos. That was the final implement for the last person to lift, and it started at 200 kilos. And just to add on to that, it was 150 kilos starting weight all the way up to 250 kilos for these implements. And, essentially, as you can see, they have to deadlift the weight up. It kind of looks like a kettlebell up the stairs. They have to duck walk it over from the line, as you can see, which is hard in itself, and then obviously put up the stairs. What I liked about this was, again, it's a different style event. They haven't done this before at Giants in this style. They have done this actual event, but not in the same manner. And I think it's good because the castle stones, to be honest, again, a little bit boring and a bit repetitive and also a bit predictable. So this is really nice to finish on a different event, and also they tweaked it. So again, it's great for the fans because it's something different, and it's good for the athletes because it challenges them and they have to apply themselves in a different way, and they can see some strengths and weaknesses coming through, because not everyone's good at the stones, and like I said, not everyone wants to see it. But as you saw there, Gavin Bilton, the ball from Wales, he took the win for the Brits, getting the 250 kilo implement up at the end. And congratulations Martins, because Martins still finished. He didn't give up, and that's what I liked about the Yanks. Despite the fact the UK team were leading throughout the whole competition, they kept going and they didn't give up. But one thing I will say is the Brits had the home advantage. They've not flown from overseas. They're settled in this time zone. It's their home turf. You're always at an advantage when you're at home. So I think there's that element to it. The Americans weren't as fresh, and like I mentioned previously, a lot of them had just come straight from the OSG, so you had that on top of travelling to the UK and not being at that home advantage. So I think we could take that into consideration for their overall scorings. But I will say, not to take anything away from the Brits, they absolutely smashed it. What a great first team for a representation of our country. And the girls and the guys work so well together on both teams. I thought it was fantastic new style of competition, and I really hope they will do it again next year. They've had posts on the website they will do it in 2023, so we will see. Fingers crossed Eddie comes back. He did say he wants to do the Viking again as a personal challenge, and we will see if he sticks to that word and doesn't get injured and takes the training seriously. But guys, I hope you liked today's video, and I really hope to see some of you actually in person at future events next year, because for Giants Live, I think there's some big things to come. They're definitely starting to evolve the sport, and their social media games getting stronger, their marketing, their promotions, the investment in the athletes, like men and women alike. I think there's big things to come, and I'm really excited. And again, just congratulations to all the women that competed. The men, they should be getting a bit rattled and worried because they're not far behind them in terms of numbers and physical achievements, so lots to come. But anyway, guys, like I said, if you did like today's video, please, as always, remember to like, comment and subscribe. I will be making some new videos soon. Just I'm going to be a bit more selective moving forward, but you know me, I'm a Strongman fan to the end. So anyway, guys, take care, and I'll see you all soon. Me, Finis, signing out.